I may be singing at Buck and Agnes's beer joint down the street if I hadn't had success. But I would be singing somewhere because that's what I love to do. So get it in your head. You don't have to make a fortune. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to be well known. You don't have to be a star to be fulfilled in this life. And we are all capable of doing a whole lot more than we think we can. But if you just do a little bit of what you think you can, then the rest comes so easy.
This is a very special edition of CIA Contagious Influencers of America. I'm David Sands.
And I'm Victoria Robinson.
It's Christmas time.
It is, yay, my favorite time of year.
And we have Miss Christmas with us.
You cannot have Christmas without her music, or it's sacrilegious.
She was the top-selling female solo artist of the 1960s. She was really only surpassed by three other artists, and that's Elvis, the Beatles, and Ray Charles.
Just a few small groups.
She was inducted into the Rockabilly, the Country, and the Rock and Roll Halls of Fame.
That's right, David. She is the only woman to be in both the Rock and Roll and Country Music Halls of Fame.
And she is the recipient of the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award.
And she's one of our neighbors. She lives right here in Nashville, Tennessee.
And we're going to sit around the campfire, so to speak. I know it's a Christmas tree in the fireplace.
Brenda Lee is inviting us into her home, David.
She is going to reveal how she has had this amazing career, how she survived all of the things you got to survive in the music business for, 6 decades
Yeah,
or so.
and the secret to a 55-year marriage. That in itself is a milestone, especially in that business.
So we're now off to the home of Miss Brenda Lee. Here we are in the home of Brenda Lee.
Brenda, welcome to Contagious Influencers of America. I would love to start by going all the way back to your beginning as a performer at the age of 5. And we all know, as I'm sure that you do, that kids don't stay grounded these days when they're in the entertainment business. But what has kept you grounded and the same faith-filled woman you are today?
And I want to know how you avoided the landmines that so many fall into.
Well, I had a great mother, and nobody ever told me I was special in the way that, oh, you're so great, you sing so great, you blah, blah, blah. Nobody ever said that. And I love to sing. And it started out, like I said, just singing in talent shows and doing that kind of thing. And then after my dad died, people say, oh, I didn't know we were poor. Oh, I knew I was poor. I knew we were poor. And I think God just gives you wisdom at whatever age to look and say, oh, well, they seem to like my singing and they're willing to pay me money to do it, and we need the money. That's kind of how it started after Daddy died, because it hurt to see my mother work 14 and 16-hour days. It really hurt. And if I could do anything to lessen that load for her, I was willing to do that. Plus, I loved what I was doing. So it was a win-win for all of us.
Now, talk a little bit about your husband, Ronnie. How many years have you all been together?
55. And they said it wouldn't last. That's what he said the other night. We were laying in bed, and our big old black lab was kind of almost in between us. And he looked down and he said, who in the world would have ever thought that I would let a big black dog be in bed with us? And who would have thought I'd been in bed with you 55 years later? I said, well, stranger things have happened, I'm sure. But he is a good man. He is just a good man. And he's been a good father, a good husband, a good provider. A lot of people think, oh, well, Ronnie doesn't work. It's all Brenda. Mm-mm. It is not. Ronnie is a very astute businessman. I don't know where that came from, because it was there from the beginning when we married at 18 years old. And we have worked together, and he's just been a good man. I could have looked the world over and not found anybody better.
How tall is Ronnie? I mean, you're 4'9", right?
Yeah, 6'4". I always tell everybody I have a ongoing relationship with his armpit. That's what I talk to all the time because he's so tall. That didn't sound good, but that's the truth. But he is really tall. And then my grandson, who's 16, that I've raised, he's 6'5". So he's taken after his grandfather. I said, because both my girls are like 5'9", I said, I guess if I would have had a boy, he'd have been 3'2". He would have taken after me. But yeah, Ronnie's a tall guy. But I always liked those tall guys. I don't know why, but I did. I lucked out. He's a good man. You know, I couldn't have chosen anybody to be a better father to my children or a better grandfather. He was a good son, and he's been a good husband. And back in those days, you know, especially in Georgia, you could go to Ringo and get a divorce at the flip of a coin. So marrying young, people thought, oh, that'll never work. But it has. And I can only, like I say, attribute that to a power more powerful than me.
Well, you know, you've had some tremendous success, a lot of success, but you've also dealt with a lot of struggles with Ronnie's illness and then your granddaughter's accident. What is the hardest thing that you've had to deal with, and how in the heck did you get through it?
Well, I think, you know, when Ronnie was diagnosed with cancer, you hear that word, but you never expect to hear it in your world. So that was a biggie. But when my granddaughter had her accident and became a paraplegic, that's been very, very tough. But we're working on it. They are doing things every day to where people walk again. And I won't give up as long as there's air in my body and hope in my heart. I won't give up. She's a precious, precious young lady. And she has taken this with grace, and she makes it better because she's happy. She's a happy girl.
So how old is she now, Brenda?
She's, oh gosh, let me see. I forget sometimes. She's in her mid-20s. I can't believe I've got a granddaughter that's going to be 30, my oldest granddaughter. But she's in her mid-20s, so.
And how long ago was her accident?
She was 18. As accidents so often happen after you graduate and you think you're invincible and you're not. But like I said, things are happening every day, and I'm on top of it. And I've got all my friends out there, and when they hear something that's happening, oh, Brenda, we saw this, and then, so I check it all out. And if there's a way if it's in God's plan for her to walk again, she'll walk. I believe in miracles. I do.
Well, we do too, Brenda, and I know our audience is going to lift her up in their prayers.
They sure will. Now, I want to know, with holidays around the corner, and most people are looking forward to a little time off, I know I certainly am, what do you do to take a break? What do you like to do?
A good day for me would be to be in bed with my big black dog laying there at the foot of me, and I love to read. I read constantly. So that would be a great day. And then I like to just visit people, pop up and say, here I am. What do you want to do? That's always fun.
So, Brenda, when you surprise one of your girlfriends, what do you like to do?
Ooh, let's see, what do we do? Go and eat. I love to go to different restaurants and test out different cuisines. Mm-hmm. And movies. Love movies. Love to go to a good movie. That's about it. Or I love to, just visit people. Don't really have to do anything.
Now, I know you love to read. So what's a good book that you recently read and that you recommend?
Oh, I am reading, what are the titles of those? One's about Jesus, one's about Lincoln, and one's about somebody else. Oh, what is the name of those books? The Killing of Jesus, The Killing of Lincoln. Yeah. That's it. And I've been reading those. And of course, I've been reading a lot of the political books lately because I just find them amusing. And but some of them are really, really good. But I'm just an avid reader. I love history. I love to read about history. I have a fan in England. Like when Dusty put out her book and different artists, he would always try to get them signed for me, and then he'd send me the book. So I love reading those books. But yeah, I'm just an avid reader. Always have been. And I think it was because in the early days, traveling on the road, when Mama couldn't go because she had the other kids, my manager and I would go. And of course, we'd stay in adjoining rooms and the doors would be locked and all. But I'll never forget, those were the days where you had the old-fashioned keys. And he'd go outside and he'd close my door and I'd hear it locked and he'd say, "Okay, can you get out?" And I'd go like rattle, "No, sir." He'd say, "Okay, I'll see you in the morning. Good night." And then I'd have my books and I'd read till I went to sleep, and that would be that.
Well, that's a little scary, though, because, I mean, what if there was a fire or something and you had to get out quick?
Everybody said that, but he was right next door. All he had to do, I didn't know it, but all you had to do is open that door and you'd be right in my room. And Mama was usually always with me, but on times that she wasn't, he was like my daddy because he took me over when I was 10. And that's how it would be. So books became my friends. And there's nothing like the smell of an old book. I go to auctions, and of course, if there are books for sale, you have to buy the whole box. You can't just go through it. And I have come upon some finds that I got the whole miniature collection of Shakespeare in these little red leather-bound miniature books. So you never know what you're going to get. And it's fun to me to smell the dust and look at the covers, and I love it.
Well, speaking of old books, I know that you're a big reader of the Bible. Do you have a favorite scripture? Something that you cling to during tough times?
Oh, goodness. My whole deal is just prayer. If I get up, I say a prayer. When I go to bed, I say a prayer. If something's going on in the day, I say a prayer. Everybody gets on to me because if I see one of the people on the street, maybe wanting money or anything, I'll always give. And they'll say, "Why do you do that? Don't you know they're probably going to go and buy a bottle of wine or something?" I said, "Well, if that eases them for the day, then so be it." But I said, "They may be an angel. I don't know. Jesus said they may be. So I'm not going to overlook one just in case." So everybody bugs me about that. But yeah, a good day for me is if I can help somebody with a word or a deed or anything. That's a good day for me because I've been helped so much. And I know what it means to be hungry. I know what it means to not have money. I know what it means not to covet, but to want. I've never coveted and wished somebody else didn't have it and I did. That's not it. But I know what it means to legitimately be hungry, to legitimately not have a place to go and have to live with relatives. So, yeah, I know. So I guess maybe if you've been down those roads, then you can commiserate with people a little bit better. And even if you haven't been down those roads, shame on you for passing them up.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do for stress relief when you're managing your busy schedule and you're feeling that anxiety?
Yeah.
Stop for a minute, look upwards, and say, "Help me, Jesus." And that always gets me going because I don't take meds for it, and I don't go to bed about it. I don't like depression. Nobody likes depression, but a lot of times depression's easier than maybe facing what you got to face. But at the end of the day, you got to face it. So you might as well just perk up and say, "Hey, let's get this done and over with and go on."
All right, let's talk about Christmas for a minute. You have any tips for holiday entertaining?
That reminds me when we interviewed Amy Grant. She says, just get the whole family together in the kitchen. Even if you have a blended family, it's a great way to bring everybody together. Just give them all a knife and they go after it. No, seriously. She said that it gets everybody involved, chopping veggies and doing all kinds of different stuff. And I just thought that was great.
Yeah, that's what I do with all my girls. I put them to work.
She does that too, because I've been at her house right before Christmas, and she'll put your little rear end to work. I'll tell you that. But she's precious. She invents her so precious. I think no tip is the greatest tip. I mean, if people want to come, they don't have to call me and tell me they're coming. Just come. You know, there's always enough food. There's always, you know, we're always home. Ronnie and I are not, we don't go out a lot. We're always here. Just come. We cook every night. There's always food. He has to eat. He's one of those guys that wants dinner on the table. And so, yeah, we love company. We love people to come. A lot of times people think, oh, we can't go there. She's busy or she's been on the road. Well, you know, I'm not on the road anymore. I'm pretty much at home. And I had my 66 years on the road. And it's good to be home. And I enjoy my Bible meetings. I enjoy people coming over. I enjoy just getting out and going to Walmart. Just what everybody else likes, I like too. And I love company. So come on by, y'all.
I love the relationship you have with your fans. You've said so many times how much you appreciate what they bring to your life. So I just thought you could share what it is you do when they show up.
A bunch of my fans always come in, of course, for CMA week or whatever it is. And a lot of them haven't seen this house. And I'll tell them to come over, and they'll say, oh, your home's so pretty. I said, well, I hope you like it. You bought it. So that's how I feel. My fans have afforded me so many more things that I never thought I'd have. Now, when I married Ronnie, he was a very astute businessman. Even at that age, he's done wonderful in his own right. But what my fans have afforded me is an extended family that has never left me. I know their kids' names. I know their husbands. I know their mamas and daddies. It's just like we're just one big old extended family, and I love that.
So, Brenda, what's Christmas like in your home? What do you have on your table on Christmas Day?
We just like good old country food. That's what we cook around here. Cornbread, roast, mashed potatoes, corn. We've got a farm, and a farmer across the street has 400 acres, but they don't have water. They're organic farmers, and they sell to Whole Foods and Kroger's and everybody. So they use one of our big fields to plant on. They said to Ronnie, they said, well, how much will you charge us? And he said, we won't charge you anything. We just want the vegetables. So we get all the vegetables we want. In fact, I'd never seen a purple carrot. And they grow all that good, weird stuff that is good. And so it's been fun. We eat a lot of vegetables around here. We're not big meat eaters. Although my grandson, he's a carnivore. He loves meat. But, yeah, we love vegetables. And Retta, who helps me, is a fabulous cook. So I like to eat it. I'm not too much on cooking it. Although I'm a good cook. I can cook, but I'd rather just eat it.
Mm-hmm.
So, Brenda, for those who need a little bit of encouragement, what would you say to people who are going through, a rough time at Christmas?
This too shall pass, because it always does. It will pass. And if you love each other and you have each other, all the rest of it's just window dressing.
You know, Brenda, Victoria here, I have to tell you, she has a crush on somebody I know you know and you're a big fan of, and that's Mike Rowe.
I do.
The Dirty Jobs guy. And, his mom recently wrote a book. She's like 80 years old. She wrote this amazing book.
Wow.
And I know that there's no slowing down for you.
Yeah, I would love you to talk a little bit about how you can do anything you want at any point in your life.
Well, I think you can. I don't think God puts an age limit on any of us. I think that whatever we want to do, give it a try. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, but you'll never know unless you do it. It helps, too, if you love it. Because like I said, I may be singing at Buck and Agnes's beer joint down the street. if I hadn't had success. But I would be singing somewhere because that's what I love to do. So get it in your head. You don't have to make a fortune. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to be well known. You don't have to be a star to be fulfilled in this life. You don't have to be. And that's what I've based my whole life on. I like me. I like what my mama raised. And I got a lot of my mama in me. And she'd go out and get a switch and whip me if I weren't talking this way, because she didn't raise me to be any other way. And we are all capable of doing a whole lot more than we think we can. But if you just do a little bit of what you think you can, then the rest comes so easy. It's like my mama said, you know, if you're a ditch digger, just dig the best ditch in the whole world. Doesn't make you less just because of that. Just be the best that you can be. And then you don't have to apologize to anybody. But like I said, I'd be down on Broadway singing on a corner because I'd be singing somewhere. That's what I love to do. I've just been lucky in the fact and blessed in the fact that other people liked it too. But you can't just quit if it doesn't come soon. There's work involved. And there's sacrifice involved. And you have to be willing to do what you need to do to make it happen.
As far as I'm concerned, you are Miss Hall of Fame. You're in the Rockabilly Hall of Fame, the Country Music Hall of Fame, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Is there anything on your bucket list you haven't done?
Yeah, sing another time. It's always, I want to sing another time. So if I'm able to do that, whether it's in the shower, whether it's on the Grand Ole Opry, whether it's at Royal Albert Hall in England, wherever it is, I just want to sing till I can't sing.
And we hope that's forever.
And speaking of forever, you have been married for 55 years. Brenda, what's your secret?
A secret to a 55-year marriage. Respect. I think listening is the secret. If you'll just listen. And don't go to bed mad. You can go to bed and stop the argument and start it back up in the morning, but don't go to bed mad. Because you never know. One of you might not wake up. So just don't do that. And be the bigger person. Because a man's never going to admit they're wrong. So just be the bigger person and say, oh, yeah, honey, it's all right. I apologize. And then they're so happy. They just go on their little merry way, and you're like tee-heeing in the back. But no. You know, if you have a partner in life that you truly love, let them know that. If they want to be the boss, let them be the boss. It's a small enough price to pay to have somebody that you love, that you know loves you. It's so insignificant to want to be the important one. Because I'm important to me. So it doesn't matter if I'm important to anybody else. God tells me I'm good. I don't need to hear anybody say I'm good if he thinks so. And that's the way it is with a man. You know, they're the man. Let them be the man. Don't do trivial fights that make no sense, have no rhyme nor reason. Life's too short. Took me a long time to learn that. And when you marry at 18, it does. Because you're both full of, pardon me, as my husband says, piss and vinegar. You know? And you both think you're right, but it doesn't hurt to let them think they're right. When we know we really are.
Brenda, it's no surprise you've known so many people in the business, great performers in history music, but I'd love to hear about your friendship with the one and only Elton John, especially since his life was made into a movie this year.
I met Elton in 1972 in England, and he was getting ready he had his first album, getting ready to embark to come over to America. And of course, I got my big success started in England. But I don't know, I shouldn't say I don't know what it was about him. I mean, he sings great, he writes great, he's a great musician. He's just But what I love about Elton is he's just Elton. He's not the Elton that you think he would be, with so much success in all genres. He is just a down-home guy that loves his kids, proud of his kids, loves his mate, loves his life. He gives. I remember when my husband got cancer, and one of the first people I called was Elton. And I'll never forget, he said, I don't care what it costs. I'll find you the best doctor in the world. And I'll fly him there, we'll get him there, and he'll be okay. And I've never forgotten that. And that's a true friend. And we've been like that ever since we've known each other. And when he comes to town, David always calls me, and he says, Elton's coming. I said, you think I don't know that?
Now, Brenda, over the decades, you've been so supportive of our troops. Are there any favorite memories that you have for all your performances for the men and women serving overseas?
Well, I went all over the world for the troops, everywhere. Germany, Cambodia. I went everywhere but Vietnam, and I couldn't go there. But right there on see that Medal of Honor? I was doing a show last year, and a man came up to me, and he gave me that. He said, this has been on my bucket list since the Vietnam War. I said, you need to, I said, you need to give this to your grandkids or your kids. He said, I wouldn't have either if it weren't for you. And I said, what are you talking about? He said, I was a bomber pilot, and in my flak jacket, I used to have stacks of your CDs. And a bullet came through the window, and it went right into the CDs. He said, so you saved my life. And he said, I want you to have this. Because he said, I've sat in the jungle in the pouring rain and listened to Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree. So he said, I want you to have this. I said, on the condition that it goes to your kids. He said, okay. So when you hear stories like that, you know you've done something right. And I said, you guys must have been pretty hard up in the 26th Division to make me your pinup girl. And he just died laughing. And he said, no, he said, seriously, we've sat in the jungle and listened to Rockin' when it was pouring down rain. I said, well, it doesn't get much better for me than that. So those stories make what I do worth it, always. Because it lets you know that there are things so much bigger than you are. And it brings you right back down to earth again. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Sounds good to me.
Brenda, you mentioned how much you love to sing. So David and I would be crazy not to ask if you'd sing a few notes of your most famous song.
Which one, Rockin'?
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Rockin' around the Christmas tree at the Christmas party hop.
Ba-dum, bum, bum.
Mistletoe hung where you can see every couple tries to stop. Ta-da!
Yeah!
What a great
Way to
song.
go.
And believe it or not, a Jewish guy wrote it.
Oh.
Johnny Marks, who also wrote Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Holly Jolly Christmas. And he always wanted to write just a regular song, and nothing would come out of him but Christmas. Go figure.
Brenda, anybody who's listening to this can just feel the joy in your voice. And the energy that you give, it is contagious. Where does that
Absolutely.
come from?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm a positive person. I'm thankful for every day. I'm thankful for everything I have. I'm thankful for the people in my life. And I'm so thankful for those people out there who come up to me and say, I met my husband while we were listening to I'm Sorry. Or just those kind of stories that connect that I know that we've made a heartfelt connection. And I think that's what any of us in this industry, if we can accomplish that, I think we've done our jobs. I just happen to have had some of the best darn songwriters in the world that wrote I'm Sorry and All Alone Am I and Fool Number One and Emotions and Break It to Me Gently and all those wonderful songs that, because, you know, the record buying public back then was girls. Boys didn't buy records. So it was hard for a girl to be a star because the girls were buying the records. So I attribute it to the songs because I certainly wasn't a looker. You know, I was a little kind of short, chubby girl, and I just attribute it to those songs that girls could identify with me wanting to say, boy, I really like that boy, but he'll never look at me because I'm not pretty and, you know, I'm not shapely and I'm not this and I'm not that. And that was my audience. And then they grew up to be swans. Ain't life good? And, you know, the girls, I'd get these girls that would come up to me and, oh, I don't have a boyfriend and I like this boy so much, but he likes so-and-so and she's so pretty. And I said, give it a minute. Give it a minute. He'll find out. He'll come back. You're interested. That'll hold his attention. And it's true.
That is really good advice, Brenda.
Absolutely. You know, as someone who has played such a huge role in American music, is there anyone from that new crop of singers that are coming up that you think has something absolutely special? And maybe somebody you'd like to meet and speak into their career or help influence in some way?
Well, the new crop that's coming up, I don't really know if they would appreciate influence. And when I say that, I don't mean about their singing, because Lord knows Underwood and all of them can sing like a mockingbird. It wouldn't be that, but they need to know who opened the doors for them to come in. And they may never know, and they may not care, and they may not want to. But I sure did. And it helped me. There's always been a recipe for success. The first ingredient used to be talent. That doesn't hold true all the time. Now it's all about, okay, you got to look a certain way. You got to dress a certain way. You got to act a certain way. You got to, it's all, the recipe's all mixed up. But talent, mark my words, will always out. And it will always be here when the rest is gone. Because that audience out there, they don't care if you have on Armani, Gucci. They don't care. It's what's coming out of that mouth and how you treat the people that put you where you are. That's what they care about. Now, they'll like you for a minute, and they'll buy those records and they'll come to see those shows. But at some point, if you don't get down to their level, they're gone to the next one. And it's been that way forever. But if you let them know that the only thing different about you and them is you sing and they don't, but you sing because they let you, they'll be with you for life. And that used to be the recipe. But I don't like the recipe today. So I just do my own thing, as I think Patsy Cline would. I can name you a list from now on. Sinatra, as I think he would. Elton, because we're talking about Elton. You got to be able to connect with people sincerely because they know the difference. And then you got to be able to get up on that stage. And if you're singing and the mic goes out, you keep singing, and then a recording doesn't. Your mouth's not moving, but you're singing. But the audience knows. They're smart. I don't care how good of equipment you have. You best use your voice. That's what I tell the little kids that come to see me. And they come, and I tell them.
Brenda, just wrapping it up now, I just want to say this. If you ever want to come to karaoke night with us, you are more
Are
than
you
welcome.
are you really inviting Brenda Lee to karaoke with us in
Are you
Franklin?
really questioning whether I'm inviting Brenda Lee to karaoke with us?
Oh, Brenda, I would just settle for some Christmas caroling with you.
See, I still love going caroling. I'll never forget, we went to Mel Tillis's house caroling. And I hope his people don't get mad at me for this, but it's just Mel. And it was Hank Jr. and me and, I forget who else, but anyway, we said, where's Mel? And they said, oh, who was it? Whoever it was said, he got drunk and he's climbed up in a tree in the backyard. And we went out there and we got him out of the tree and he went caroling with us. So it's never dull. It is just never dull. Lord loves the truth. I just told it.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you've known them all.
Wow, Brenda, this has been such a pleasure.
Thanks for having us here at your
Yeah,
homestead.
thank you for inviting us into your beautiful home.
So how do you top that?
Oh my gosh.
Amazing.
I'm sitting here like, I can't believe we just did that.
So thank you, Brenda, for inviting us into your home, and thank all of you for inviting us into yours. I'm David Sams.
And I'm Victoria Robinson.
And you've been listening to Contagious Influencers of America, the podcast from the producers of Keep the Faith.
Hey, you can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, or go to KeepTheFaith.com.
Now, if you enjoy the podcast, please go to Apple Podcasts and subscribe, rate, and review Contagious Influencers of America.
Be sure to join us next week. And of course, thank you for listening.
And remember, go out there and live that life in living color, because it sure is a lot more interesting than living in black and white.
Merry Christmas.